नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter 7, scheduled incarnations, text 32. गोपैर मखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रीरक्षु धर्तोच्छिलिन्द्रम् इव सप्त दिनानि सप्त वर्षो महीध्रम् अनघैक करे शलिलम्। गोपैर्मखे प्रतिहते ब्रज विप्लवाय देवेभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षु। धर्तोच्छिलिन्द्रमिव सप्त दिनानि सप्त वर्षमहिध्रम् अनघैक करे शलीलम्। गोपैर्मखे प्रतिहते ब्रज विप्लवाय देवेभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरिक्षु। धर्तोच्छिलिन्द्रमिव सप्त दिनानि सप्त वर्षो महीध्रम् अनघैक करे शलीलम्। गोपैर्मखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय देवेभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरिक्षु। धर्तोच्छिलिन्द्रमिव सप्त दिनानि सप्त वर्षो महीध्रम् अनघैक करे शलीलम्। Gopoi, by the cowherd men, Mokhe, in offering a sacrifice to the King of Heaven, Pratihate, being hampered, Braja Viplavaya, for devastating the whole existence of Brajabhumi, the land of Krishna's pastime, Deve, by the King of Heaven, Abhivarshati, having poured down heavy rain, Poshun, the animals, Kripaya, by causeless mercy upon them, Ridakshu, desiring to protect them, Dharta, held up, Uchchilindram, uprooted as an umbrella, Eva, exactly like that, Shaptadinani, continuously for 7 days, Saptavarshaha, although he was only 7 years old, Mahidram, the Govardhan hill, Anagha, without being tired, Ekokare, in one hand only, Salilam, playfully. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. When the cowherd men of Vrindavan, under the instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Vraja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Vraja, held up the hill known as Govardhan with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water. Please repeat after me. When the cowherd men of Vrindavan, under the instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Vraja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Vraja, held up the hill known as Govardhan with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Children play with an umbrella generally known as frog's umbrella. And Lord Krishna, when he was only 7 years old, could snatch the great hill known as the Govardhan Parvat at Vrindavan and held it for 7 days continuously with one hand, just to protect the animals and the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra, the heavenly king, who had been denied sacrificial offerings by the inhabitants of Brajabhumi. Factually, there is no need of offering sacrifices to the demigods for their services if one is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. Sacrifices recommended in the Vedic literature for satisfaction of the demigods are a sort of inducement to the sacrifices to realize the existence of higher authorities. The demigods are engaged by the Lord as controlling deities of material affairs. And according to the Bhagavad Gita, when a demigod is worshipped, the process is accepted as the indirect method for worshipping the Supreme Lord. But when the Supreme Lord is worshipped directly, there is no need of worshipping the demigods or offering them sacrifices as recommended in particular circumstances. Lord Krishna therefore advised the inhabitants of Brajabhumi not to offer any sacrifices to the heavenly king Indra. But Indra, not knowing Lord Krishna in Brajabhumi, was angry at the inhabitants of Brajabhumi and tried to avenge the offense. But competent as the Lord was, he saved the inhabitants and animals of Brajabhumi by his personal energy and proved definitely that anyone directly engaged as a devotee of the Supreme Lord need not satisfy any other demigods, however great, even to the level of Brahma or Shiva. Thus, this incident definitely proved without a doubt that Lord Krishna is the personality of Godhead and that he was so in all circumstances. As a child on the lap of his mother, as a boy 7 years old, and as an old man of 125 years of age. In either case, he was never on the level of the ordinary man. And even in his advanced age, he appeared a young boy, 16 years old. These are the particular features of the transcendental body of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitangscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatang Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matir Gati Mat Sarvasya Padam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastho Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalibhi Shebhamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamsi Vata Tatasthita Karshan Venu Swanair Gopir Gopinatha Shriyastunaha Tapto Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gopair Makhe Pratihate Vraja Viplavaya Deve Bhivarshati Pushun Kripaya Rirakshu Dharto Chilindram Eva Sapta Dinani Sapto Varsho Mahindram Anaghaika Karesh Salilam. When the cowherd men of Vrindavan, under the instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Vraja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitants of Vraja, held up the hill known as Govardhan with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water. So, Brahmaji, Lord Brahma here is instructing Narad Muni about the various pastimes that establishes Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Various pastimes of Krishna indicating that how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The other day we discussed that 23 different incarnations have been described in this chapter, and practically all the incarnations have been described by just one verse. In, I think, 2 or 3 incarnations have been described with 2 verses. But here, Krishna is being described in 10 verses. Krishna's various pastimes are being described here. Yesterday, Maharaj explained about Krishna's pastimes as with Nanda Maharaj, when Nanda Maharaj was captured by Varuna Dev just to get the darshan of Krishna. Varuna Dev did that. Otherwise, Varuna Dev would not capture Nanda Maharaj, even though he may have broken his law. But he wouldn't do that. But he wanted to see Krishna. So he thought that if he could capture Krishna, Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj, if he can bring Nanda Maharaj, then Krishna will come to rescue him and he could get his darshan. In this respect, Maharaj gave another example, another few examples of different personalities capturing Krishna's devotees in order to get the darshan of Krishna. One very wonderful pastime was the pastimes of King Samudrasen, who he was in the region of Navadvip, and he defeated Bhima and captured him. He was a devotee, great devotee of Krishna, and Bhima was little careless. He thought, he's a devotee, he's not going to give me a fight. But Samudrasen captured Bhima, defeated Bhima, captured Bhima. Why? Because he knew that if he can capture Bhima, if he can keep him in captivity, and as soon as Krishna gets the news, Krishna will come to rescue Bhima. So Krishna came, and this is how Samudrasen got the darshan of Krishna. So in this way, various wonderful pastimes of Krishna are being described here. And so, in this particular verse, a very wonderful pastime is being described. Krishna's Govardhan Leela. Krishna's Govardhan Leela is a very wonderful pastime. We have to understand that these pastimes of minimizing the position of the demigods as far as up to Indra or even to Brahma is not to undermine their position, but to establish the fact that Krishna is superior to them. Actually, the demigods are Krishna's law-abiding servants. They're like in a government, there we have different departmental in-charges, like the water department, fire department, education department, finance department. Every department has a departmental head, and they all are serving under the authority of the government system. They're serving under, say, the Prime Minister. So they are not against the Prime Minister, nor the Prime Minister is against them. But these pastimes of Krishna are very unique because Krishna's original pastimes is Braja Leela. Now, Braja Leelas are not depicting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna in Vrindavan is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Vrindavan. But apparently he is not seen, he doesn't appear like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vrindavan, what is Krishna? In Vrindavan, Krishna is a cowherd boy. He's a cowherd boy. He's not even a city boy, he's a village boy. He's not even the son of a big king or a big, opulent, powerful personality. He's the son of a cowherd man, Nanda Maharaj. Although he's the leader of the cowherd folks, but apparently he is just an ordinary person, simple person. He's not even a Kshatriya. He's a trader, he's a Vaishya. So it's impossible for an ordinary person to recognize Krishna. Now why Krishna does that, that is another aspect, another thing to consider. Why Krishna does that? How many of you remember why Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes is the way it is? Who remembers? Why Krishna is like an ordinary cowherd boy? Yes, Radharani? Like?
Treating him like an ordinary person, chastising him, and playing with him, climbing on his neck.
Why they have to chastise him? Why they have to treat him like an ordinary boy?
Because they don't realize that this is a supreme personality.
Who remembers the reasons? Yes. Okay, Sitanath. Okay, yeah. In order to enable his devotees to have exchange with him as a friend, as the father and mother, and as the lover. Now these three relationships, how many principal relationships are there? Okay, Mukunda Prabhu, he just indicated with his fingers without saying. 5. Yeah, what are those 5? What are the 5? Neutrality. Neutrality, after neutrality is servitorship. Conjugal. So these are the 5 principal relationships known as rasas, mukha rasas, principal mellows. Santa, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Madhu. Now neutrality actually doesn't involve any relationship. Neutral means no relationship. Santaras. The sages, those who meditate upon Krishna, they are in a mellow of neutrality. They meditate upon Krishna's pastimes, or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or they meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord. But the servitorship involves reciprocation. In neutrality there is no reciprocation, and without reciprocation there cannot be any active positive relationship. Then in neutrality, beyond neutrality is servitorship. The servant, yes, he has a relationship with his master. He serves his master. And the master also reciprocates his service. So this is how there is a relationship between a master servant and master. But beyond that, the relationship becomes even stronger beyond servitorship in friendship. The relationship between the friends are much deeper than the relationship between the servant and master. Then the relationship between the parents and children is even deeper than friendship. In this way, gradually the relationship is becoming more and more intensified. And then finally, the relationship between a lover and a beloved, a young lover and a young beloved, is the most intense of all relationships. So these relationships are also there with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But as long as we remember that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then how can anyone ever treat him like a friend? Which at the most one can serve him as a servant, considering him to be the Supreme Lord and Master. And that is the situation, that is the relationship in Vaikuntha. The general domain of the spiritual realm is Vaikuntha. And there in Vaikuntha, everyone is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the servant, and considering him as the supreme Lord and Master. But friendship takes place between equals. Now, if we recognize that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme, then how can anyone be equal to him? Is it possible for anyone to be equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? No. How can anyone be equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is ekam eva advitiya parama purusha. He is one without a second, supreme, parama purusha. He is the supreme. One of the definition of Bhagavan or God or Ishvara, Parameshvara, is no one is superior to him and no one is equal to him. Asamordha. He is asama, asama. Sama means equal. No one is equal to him. And urdha, no one is superior to him. So that's why he is the supreme. So how can anyone be equal to him? Now, at least in friendship, the relationship is among equals. But in parental relationship, the father and mother is superior. Not even equal, they're superior. So God, his devotees become superior and God himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, himself becomes inferior to them. They become superior to him. And then in conjugal, that relationship is so intense, so deep. Just like a young boy, love between a young boy and a young girl. And that also, they're unmarried. If they're married, then there would have been some consideration. But when they're unmarried, they're afraid. Oh, maybe my father will see me and then what will happen? I'll be in trouble. If my girl thinks that if my father sees me with this boy, then I'll be in trouble. So they meet in a quiet place because they know that if it becomes known, then they'll be in trouble. And Krishna deals with them also like that. He doesn't meet them with the cowherd girls, cowherd damsels, the younger cowherd girls, the gopis. Krishna doesn't meet them, or even when they meet them, in front of others, they pretend as if they don't know each other. Or they have no relationship. Especially the girls would pretend, let's be careful in front of our superiors. Even in front of Balaram, Krishna is afraid to deal with the gopis. He doesn't, because there's sambram, that relationship. Where Krishna meets with the girls? In the depth of the forest. When? At the dead of the night. So this is how Krishna actually deals with his devotees. So these relationships are not possible to have with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As long as that awareness is there, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they could never have dealt with them the way they did in Vrindavan. So for a living entity, for a jiva, or even for anyone other than Krishna, for anyone it is not possible to become equal to or superior to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna has become equal to them. They cannot become equal to Krishna. But Krishna can become equal to them. They cannot become superior to Krishna, but Krishna can become inferior to them. And in order to do that, Krishna had to hide his identity as the Supreme Personality of God. Krishna had to make them forget that he is God. Because if they recognize him as God, then all the fun will be lost. There won't be any fun. So Krishna makes this wonderful arrangement in Vrindavan through his Yogamaya, where he just becomes an ordinary cow, or he acts like an ordinary cowherd boy. And he performs such wonderful activities. But at the same time, Krishna maintains his position as the supreme. In one hand, Krishna is acting like an ordinary cowherd boy, but through his activities, Krishna is establishing his supremacy. So this is one pastime. The cowherd folks were preparing for a Govardhan Puja, big festival for them. So in a festival, what happens? Do you remember what happens in a festival? Do you have a time to breathe? Do you have time to eat and sleep? You're so busy. If you really want to make that festival an event, so you're so busy, you're so actively involved. So similarly, Krishna is, the cowherd people in Vrindavan, headed by Nanda Maharaj, were extremely busy that day. And how old was Krishna at that time? 7. Krishna was only 7 years old. And what was Krishna doing? A 7-year-old boy is seeing that everyone is so busy, no one is paying any attention to him. So he was wondering, what's happening? So he went and asked his father, Daddy, what's happening? Father, please tell me what's happening. What are you doing? And why are you making all these elaborate arrangements? Why everyone seems to be so busy today? Nanda Maharaj thought that, I'm so busy, and who is going to, this boy has always so many questions. And if I start answering, then there won't be any end to entertain him or treat him. So Nanda Maharaj first disregarded that point. Krishna, he just didn't even answer that. He's carried on with his activities. Then Krishna again approached his father. Father, tell me what's happening. Krishna, I'm too busy, don't bother me now. Just keep quiet for the time being. Then Krishna responded, look, I'm asking you something. And if you don't answer, then how will I get to know about what's happening? And if I don't know, then I'll remain in ignorance. And then the people will blame you, that you have a son who is in total ignorance, who is a murak. So then Nanda Maharaj said, Krishna, you see, we are arranging to worship Indradev. Who is Indradev? Nanda Maharaj knew once he started to answer the question to this boy, there won't be any end to his questions. So he said, Indradev is the god of rain. Why do you have to worship him? Because we need rain. You see, we are farmers. We tend cows. For that we need fodders and green grass and water. And if Indradev is pleased with us, he will provide us with all the rains that we need. Then Krishna came up with another beautiful question. Father, does Indradev give rain because he is worshipped? Only when he is worshipped he gives rain? Nanda Maharaj said, yes, that's true. And that's why we are worshipping him. But Father, does anybody worship Indra in the middle of the ocean? Nanda Maharaj got stuck. And that's true. While he was thinking whether anyone worships Indradev in the middle of the ocean, then Krishna said, in the ocean there is no need for water, and no one worships Indradev in the middle of the ocean, but still there is rain in the ocean. Tell me, why does it happen? Nanda Maharaj got stuck. Then Krishna asked, is it a tradition or is it a scriptural thing? The worshipping of Indra, has it been prescribed in the scriptures, or has it been a custom? Then Nanda Maharaj said, actually it's a custom. He couldn't justify with some scriptural evidence. He decided not to get into trouble. Then probably the boy would ask, Daddy, Father, then which scripture said that worshipping for rain. Then he just, to avoid that problem, he decided to just accept that it's a custom. Then Krishna said, then why do you just follow some custom? But you see, use your common sense. Don't just just follow the tradition and custom like that. Why don't you just use your common sense? Let's consider. What do we actually need? We need green grass. We get all the green grass in Govardhan. We need water. In Govardhan there are so many beautiful fountains. There are so much water there for our cows. And in this way Krishna just started to glorify Govardhan. Everything that you need is provided by Govardhan. So why worship Indra? Let's worship Govardhan. And Nanda Maharaj, he had such love for Krishna and he had such appreciation for Krishna's judgment. Nanda Maharaj always used to think that this little boy is so wise. He's only 7 years old, but he knows so much. He didn't even go to school. He didn't even go to learn anything from. I never taught him anything. Where did he learn all this? Maybe this is the sanskar from his previous birth. In his previous birth, he may be a jatismar. He may be, most rarely he knows, he remembers things from his previous lives. Still he didn't think that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He may be a very, very exalted personality who recalls everything from his previous birth. So when Nanda Krishna says, Father, let's worship Govardhan. And Nanda Maharaj said, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like Govardhan is providing us with everything. So why, maybe these things, all the arrangements that we made for Indra Puja can be offered to Govardhan. So they made all the arrangements for Govardhan Puja. And they did the Govardhan Puja. They offered everything to Govardhan. And something very unusual happened at that time. At the time everyone saw, including Krishna. Krishna was just watching, and they saw that Govardhan became a personality whose head was touching the sky, a huge personality. And there was a mountain of food. And Govardhan with his big hand, he was just taking and putting it in his mouth. And sometimes he would just stretch his hand to the fountains and take some water and drink it. And sometimes when it ran out, he said, bring more, bring more. And some devotees also saw that although Govardhan is taking the food in from the mountains of Prasad, but as soon as Govardhan took that, it became replenished. It became filled up again. And Govardhan just ate in great satisfaction. And there was two Krishnas. Actually, they saw that this Govardhan is actually Krishna. One big Krishna sitting, cross-legged, and eating, and another small Krishna, 7-year-old, watching. So in this way they worshipped Govardhan, and then they went out for a parikrama of Govardhan with all their animals and all the Brajavasis. And in the meantime, Indra realized what happened. That he thought he was getting ready to receive all the offerings, and he found out that nothing is being offered to him. Nothing is being offered to him. So Indra was really upset. What's happening? And then Indra realized what actually happened. Under the instruction of this little boy, these cowherd people have offended him, dared to offend him in such a terrible way. Indra thought, okay, I'll teach you a lesson. So he called Sambartak cloud, the cloud that is actually meant to pour rain for devastation. At the time of annihilation, the Sambartaka cloud is called, and Sambartaka actually pours incessant rain and inundates the whole creation. So he called Samvartaka, and Samvartaka came and offered obeisances and asked, "So my Lord, please tell me what I can do for you. Just order me." And then he says, "Go and destroy Vrindavan." And also, he sent the thunderstorm along with that. He go and destroy Vrindavan. And all of a sudden, the residents of Vrindavan saw that the horizon became overcast. And very quickly that cloud started to move along with thunder and storm. So they approached Krishna. "Krishna, Krishna, see what's happening. Such a devastating rain is coming. What are you going to do? What should we do?" Krishna said, "Don't worry." So he just lifted Govardhan hill, because they were circumambulating Govardhan. Govardhan was the nearest situation for them. So he lifted Govardhan and held it with his left hand with the little finger. So in the meantime, the storm and thunder along with Samvarta cloud came and they were devastating Vrindavan. The whole place got flooded. But because Krishna was holding Govardhan hill like an umbrella, nothing happened to the residents of Vrindavan. So Indra wanted to find out what actually happened. So he told thunder, "Go and find out." Lightning, rather. "Go find out what's happened to Vrindavan." So in a flash, lightning came and went back. And said, "There is not a single soul living in Vrindavan. Vrindavan has been completely devastated." Indra was very pleased. "Thank you very much for bearing this good news." They learnt a good lesson now. Then after a while, lightning came back again, but this time he gave another news. He told Indra that actually I was mistaken, my lord. I was mistaken. Actually, all the residents of Vrindavan, along with their cows and animals, cattle, they have taken shelter under Govardhan hill. And Govardhan hill, after eating all that prasad, became so strong that it went up in the sky. And everyone took shelter under Govardhan hill. So Indra was wondering, a mountain flying? There used to be one mountain that used to fly called Mainak. It used to have its wings. But I cut the wings long time back. Did that mountain grow the wings again and started to fly? Anyway, I'll take care of him. So Indra started to incessantly strike the mountain, Govardhan, with thunderbolts. But nothing happened. Nothing happened. Generally, mountains crack with the striking of the thunder. But because Krishna was holding, nothing happened to Govardhan. Thunder couldn't do anything. And it was not just one or two thunders. Indra was incessantly striking the mountain with the thunder. And then then Indra realized that something is unusual here. Something is unusual. So he came back to his senses. Maybe this little cowherd boy is my Lord, Narayan. So I offended him. So Indra started to shake, started to tremble in fear. So then Indra went to Brihaspati, his guru, Devaguru, and asked him, "What shall I do? Like, I have offended." Brihaspati said, "Yes, that's true. You didn't know that this Krishna is Narayan? He is not the Narayan, he is the origin of Narayan. And you have offended him." So he asked, "Please tell me, you are my guru. You have to tell me what to do. He said, go and beg forgiveness from him. He said, I'm afraid to go anywhere near him. So Brihaspati said, okay, take Surabhi. Surabhi is very dear to Krishna. And you send Surabhi and you hide behind Surabhi. You hold on to Surabhi's tail and hide behind him. And then seeing Surabhi, Krishna will become pacified. And when he becomes pacified, then you come out and beg forgiveness from him. So Indra did that, and Surabhi went, and Surabhi went to Krishna and started to bathe Krishna with her milk. Did the abhishek of Krishna with her milk. And then when Krishna was pleased, then Indra came out and begged forgiveness from Krishna. So, in this way, Krishna, through his very wonderful pastimes, establishes his supremacy above everyone. Why? Because although Krishna is acting like an ordinary human child, but it is to indicate his purpose is to make everyone aware that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And these pastimes are his wonderful enactment of relishing bliss and ecstasy along with his friends and along with his devotees. That's how through Govardhan pastimes, Krishna subdued Indra. Krishna established his superiority over Indra. Through the pastimes of stealing of the cows by Brahma, he established his supremacy above Lord Brahma. And in this way, we can see that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Also Brahma recognized Krishna as the origin through these pastimes. Brahma saw that he is even the origin of his worshipable Lord, Narayan. Because Brahma knew about one Narayan, and here he saw that all these cowherd boys are Narayans. All are four-armed Narayans. Not even the cowherd boys, even the cows, the calves, they are also Narayans. So in this way everyone could see the original position of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is what Srimad Bhagavatam is establishing. It is only through Srimad Bhagavatam that we get to know the supreme position of Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj in Vrindavan. And that is the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Aradha Bhagavan, Brajesho Tanay. Aradha Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Worshipable Lord is Brajesho Tanay, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Stadhama Vrindavanam, his abode is Vrindavan. Ramma Kachid Upashana Brajabodhu Vargena Jakulpita. The way the cowherd damsels worshipped him, that is the highest form of worship. Brajabodhu Vargena Jakulpita. And Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam. What is the proof? The proof is Srimad Bhagavatam, Praman. Bhagavat is Praman. And what is Bhagavat? Puranam Amalam. Amal Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam is the Praman. And Prema Pumartha Mahan. The ultimate goal of life is to develop love for this Krishna. And that is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaro Napara. Just accept that with great love and affection. And there is nothing to accept there is no need to accept anything else. Hare Krishna, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare.